Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the Performance Lab. Don't forget to subscribe below to the right for updates to new videos and a huge announcement coming up. Enjoy!
What's up, everyone? Morey Croson here from the Performance Lab in California, and we're going to break down the 100-meter sprint that happened this week in Doha. Ended up being won by Christian Coleman, but just kind of want to give a overall breakdown of like what happened or what transpired in the race, and just go into a few different things that stood out to me. Obviously, a big focus of it will be on Christian Coleman, but I also want to put a focus on looking a little bit more into Andre DeGrasse as well. Justin Gatlin came in second, and maybe even Johan Blake as well. So Christian Coleman's going to be right there. So we'll go ahead and just get started. The thing that stands out to me, when we get started, is we see that the beginning part of the race, or just the first few steps. Notice how fast Christian Coleman puts an emphasis on turning over with the feet. So 1 and 2, and he doesn't really want to get the leg too far back behind him. He's very, very quick with those feet. He's already on his 4th step. Where when you look at DeGrasse here, he's a little bit more longer. A little bit more long. I guess I pointed the wrong. When you look at DeGrasse, 1, 2, 3. Right, so you can see that how much faster Coleman gets going with his feet in comparison to DeGrasse. And if we look to see, 5, you can see how fast he puts an emphasis on, that turnover. So that's what I would say when you're first starting. You want to put the emphasis on turnover, knee drive. Right, just not spending a lot of time on the ground, just being really, really quick there. Okay? Then, as he starts to improve, or as the knees start to come up, the next thing that ends up happening is he starts to increase the leg cycle, right? So 1, we can put turnover. 2 is increase, I guess we'll say, stride length. Okay, so he slightly goes up with the angle of his spine, but really what happens is he starts to allow his leg to come back behind him a little bit more as he's continuing the knee drive. All right. As that starts to happen, he slowly starts to raise in spine. Okay, so if we watch Christian Coleman, even compared to everybody else, how he keeps that spine down, everybody else is starting to stand up. Right, but notice how he's really staying down. Even like Simbine here is standing up. DeGrasse is standing up. Gallen's pretty much standing up. And Gallen really hasn't stood up until about right there. Right, and you can see how he starts to separate too. So to me, and the why I'm putting these down is because by putting a focus on really quick feet, right, and then as your feet are getting quick, now slowly starting to elongate the stride, right, and maintaining quickness, but just elongate the stride. So still put a focus on quickness. So you can put a focus on stride length, and then turning over the legs faster, or you put a focus on fast legs and then increasing stride length. And it looks like Coleman really puts a focus on quick legs and then increasing the stride length. Then as he goes, slowly gets that spine angle position. Now he's really reaching, once his spine angles back, now he's really reaching with his arms. And now, for him, what he's essentially done is he's reached his max capacity, right? So you can see where he's at, boom, he's all the way there. Now is when other guys start to catch him, right? So now we'll go into why does like Andre DeGrasse catch him, right? So now he gets in that top end speed, and we could really see the difference between the amount of hamstring strength that DeGrasse has on the top of the legs, because you could see how well he's able to reach and how much of a vertical push he's getting. So as he gets this knee drive, notice how high his knee is as he initiates the push. Or sorry, not the push, the pull, right? So he's here, right? We're looking here. And he's extending that leg and he's pulling that leg up underneath him. And that makes it so, notice where he's at. I mean, he's even, he's pretty far back right now. He's at least in, sixth place, maybe, maybe fifth or sixth place. Depending on how doing in the first lane, if he's winning or losing the guy in the first lane. So, but then as you get going, notice how he just starts catching everybody. He just eats up everybody. He ends up coming in third, right? And so what makes it so he ended up doing that is that ability to really drive that knee up and then pull. Look at how much he starts catching Christian Coleman here at the end. Where Christian Coleman, look at how high he's getting his knee up, right? Where then DeGrasse is getting that knee all the way up, extending and reaching. So, Christian Coleman's really, really stiff and tight in those hamstrings, and so he uses that as a way to make it so he can really get a lot of knee drive and really be really, really quick. But in order for him to maximize that top end speed, he's running 9.76, right? So at the end of the day, excellent job with his overall sprint. Now I'm trying to say he has like these amazing, huge flaws that are in his sprinting form. I'm just saying this is how he can, improve and maybe get into these, 9.6, 9.5 type numbers. And right now, Christian Coleman's the top guy in the world. But I think he can get there by just getting that last. He's so good at getting to that drive phase. Once he gets to that top end speed, that's where he ends up having a little bit more of a struggle. And then if we see like the DeGrasse has a little bit more of a hard time when he first starts, but when he gets to his top end speed, and this is why he's a little bit better at probably the 200, is because he can get that knee drive up, extend, pull, and create just that much force. And so, guys that are watching this are trying to learn, really understanding what are the pros of what Christian Coleman did, and what are some of the pros that that we saw with Andre DeGrasse. I think will really stand out to make it so you can utilize this in improving your overall sprinting form, and it's a way to help a wide variety of different type of athletes here. So yeah, guys, as always, thanks for watching these videos. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to hear from you. And hey, this is a new concept that I've kind of done. If there's any races that you'd like to see more broken down to see what exactly happened, to make it so maybe somebody lost, maybe somebody won, maybe something happened. I'd be happy to break that down, happy to give you a little bit more information and really break down the different phases of it, because there's really, there's so many phases of this 100-meter sprint that you got to be able to maximize. And if you don't have that down pat, then you're not going to be able to, be able to perform at the highest level as a athlete. And I think that ends up being one of the things that happen is, if you don't have a great start, that ends up being a thing. If you don't have a great, second part of your drive phase, that could end up losing it for you. You don't have a great first part of your top end speed, second part of your top end speed. I'd say, the big thing with Christian Coleman is that second part of his top end speed is what kills him. And then with Andre DeGrasse, it's the first part of the drive phase, right? So he gets a pretty good start, but then right here, he just ends up standing up a little bit too much, and now everybody passes him, right? So that first part of his drive phase is where he gets a little bit more lost, but then when he has like the second part of his top end speed phase is elite. Right, so just being able to understand where in your actual sprint that is something that needs to be improved is something that we could definitely help you out with. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you. You guys can check out some of our programs below. We have a lot of cool things that we're offering for sprinters, and so yeah, we'd be happy to hear from you. And hopefully we can get you in a program that works. We're going to start launching some cool new products as well. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you soon.